Okay, so this is a video I'm going to do for a basic edit in Luminar 2018. I'm going to open up Capture One where I kind of use my digital asset management program. You can also edit in this program too. It's a pretty extensive program, but I like Luminar better. There's two ways to take this image out of Capture One or Adobe Bridge or Lightroom, and one is to it would be right click on a mouse or double finger click on a Apple touchpad, and then you go to here and it says open with, and you go to Luminar 2018 and you would click on that and it would bring you into Luminar 2018. And the other way, you just click on it and drag it down to Luminar 2018 and that'll put it in the program and start it up. And there we go, and it's loading. And this is a picture I took of Jerusalem just as we got into Jerusalem that evening. We'd been going all day, and we were with on a tour group, so we stopped on a bus and we stopped up above Jerusalem and broke bread together, and it was a pretty neat time. But this is a raw file, and as you can see, it's pretty flat because that's how raw files come out of the camera. And I shoot everything in RAW because I want to be the one who determines what my images are going to look like, not my camera. So this is your basically your workspace here. You have tools up on top, up here, and for some reason that's not working. Okay, you have tools up on top right here, and you have your crop tool, free transform, clone, stamp, and erase tool, and all these work really good. Maybe, yeah, there's a place I can erase something in this image. I can see it right now, and so we'll work on that later. But over here you have a before and after, and right now there's not going to be any difference because I haven't done any editing to it yet. And over here it'll give you the original and go back again. So let's start over here. In the right hand side you have all your sliders. You have a preset of filters that is set up when you first open up the program, and this preset here happened when they did the last upgrade with Luminar, when they added this lens correction, which is really cool. I'm really happy about this, and because they didn't have that before. And the next upgrade that it's going to have is it's going to give you a digital asset management feature, which is like the library in Lightroom, and pretty much that will kill Lightroom for me because I'll never use Lightroom again, because this program is much better at editing than Lightroom, and if it has a library feature to go along with it, then that does everything for me. But we'll start out right here. I always like to add a little contrast to my images and drop down the highlights a little bit. You can see it's already getting really a lot nicer. Add some clarity. I don't know if I bring the shadows up just a bit, not much. And here's what's called an accent AI filter, and what this does, artificial intelligence, it's not really AI, but what it does is it uses algorithms to analyze your picture, and then it basically adjusts it according to what it sees as the best way to adjust it, and it works pretty good. I don't totally depend on it. And then the next one is advanced contrast, and it has 3 different settings for contrast: highlights, midtones, and shadows. And I always start kind of like Lightroom. I work my way from top to bottom usually. And you bring this out, and that makes an adjustment, but then you go down here to balance and highlights, and that finishes off the adjustment. And then I go to midtones, and you see a bigger difference in midtones when you do that one. And then I go into shadows, and that actually brings the shadows up a little bit, but if you go this way, it'll continue to bring the shadows up. If you go the other way, it'll darken them some, and I like that look better. Bring this up a little bit more. Okay, and then you have brightness and contrast. Sometimes I'll do all these adjustments and I'll realize I made my image too dark. That's why I have this in here. And yeah, I don't think it needs any more brightness. I'm going to leave it just the way it is. And then you have highlights and shadows down here. If you want to do more adjustments to highlights, I'm going to bring the highlights down a little bit more. You can see what that did. And I'm going to leave the shadows alone. Okay, now another neat thing that Luminar has is it has what's here. It has presets, and these are my presets that I created. And if you want to use these, you can click these in. And it also has, if you hit here on categories right here, it has a whole group of presets that you can use to sort of like a starting point for your image. You can use these as. I tell you the truth, I've made some for myself, but I don't really use presets that often because I kind of like to have full control over the image from start to finish. And when I'm doing images like this, where it's more of a art type photography, I want to have complete control of the image from start to finish. If I'm doing a wedding or a portrait session, then maybe I might use presets to move it along a little faster when I have a lot of images to edit. So another neat thing that Luminar has is it has layers, which Lightroom does not have. And if you want to add a layer, you hit this little plus button right here, and it gives you three choices: an adjustment layer, a new image layer, and a stamp layer. And we're just going to talk about the adjustment layer today. So I created a new adjustment layer. As you see, it cleared the workspace. Okay, and now I'm going to go down here, and all these preset workspaces come pre-installed in Luminar. And these are workspaces that I made for myself. And so what I usually do is I use that first edit, and then I move to color to work on editing color. And I do a layer for each feature that I do. So we have vibrance on top, and a little vibrance. I rarely use saturation because it just seems to do too much. Dehaze, a little bit of that. Foliage enhancer, if you have any green foliage, it really kind of brings that up. Polarizing filter, it kind of makes your sky more blue. This here will remove color cast if you have a weird color cast. I don't think I do. Leave that right there. And this is golden hour. Like if you want to make the picture look more like that golden hour time. This picture was kind of in golden hour, but it enhance it a little bit more. You get a little more of that gold in the skies and stuff. And this is color contrast here. And you just kind of play with all these different filters and see what they do for your image. And then we have color balance. We have shadows, midtones, and highlights. And then we have color temperature here, which you can change the color temperature. So that's about all I'm going to do for those colors. And then what I'm going to do is go back up to the layers and hit this plus sign and make another adjustment layer. And now I'm going to go to the filter sets that I've made, and I'm going to go to details. And this first one here is called structure, and these are all sharpening tools. It all makes the image sharper. And structure is like an overall sharpening, as you can see how everything just kind of changed instantly there. And then you have microstructure, like if you have a building with a lot of detail in it and you want to bring out that detail, you can do that. Then you have detail enhancer. I usually use the medium and the small, and that seems to work really nice in sharpening up the image. Okay. This is a dark image, so you got a lot of noise up in the sky here once you start sharpening things up. So what I usually do to bring that sharpening out of those areas is you see structure, you see it has this brush here. You click on this brush and then you select brush, and it gives you this orange box around that filter. And what that means is that wherever you brush, that filter will be applied and it won't be applied to any place else. So I want to see, did you notice how the sky all of a sudden stopped being so grainy? Because I took that structure out of the sky just now by applying it just to the bottom part of the image where I want it to be. Just places that I want to be sharp. You don't even have to put it all over, just the stuff that you want to be sharp in the image. I like this. This is the wall here, and this is the dome of the rock right here. I like that to be sharp. So, okay, and then I'm going to go over do the same thing with the detail enhancer because I don't want that to be in the sky as well. I'm going to sharpen up some of these things with the detail enhancer. Okay, I don't know if you can notice, but this is changing. I'm not sure how well that shows up on YouTube, but you can see the changes as I do it. Okay, so all right, and what I like to do is, okay, now I have some noise in my sky, as you can see. So I'm going to try to denoise it some. You can see how the sky's kind of softening up, and that's in color, so I want to denoise the color area too. I want to give it a boost. I want to get it nice and those. I like my clouds to be nice and smooth, okay? So that looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do the same thing that I did for the sharpening for the denoise, because I don't want to put the denoise in here because I sharpened in here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that brush again. Okay, and it made my little orange box there. And now I'm going to brush in the denoise into the sky, okay? I don't know if you can see it, but it's taking all that noise out of the sky. Okay, I'm actually going to do it in here because this doesn't matter if this is sharp over here. I'm going to do it in here because there's probably some noise in here as well. So now you got that, okay? So now we've done lighting, contrast, and highlights and shadows. We've done sharpening, and we did color, and then we did sharpening. Okay, so that's a basic edit on this image. That's the three things that you want to do, and that's a basic edit on this image. Now, also, I have this thing over here. It's kind of like a thing sticking up over here, and I want to get that out of my picture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here to the erase tool. Okay, and it takes a second for this to boot up. I don't know why, but I don't like this thing right here with this piece right here. It's just kind of distracting to me from the picture. So I'm going to take that out with the erase tool. And this erase tool works really well. I really like the way it works. I think it works better than the content aware erase tool in Photoshop. And I come from Photoshop, and when I first started doing photography, I started with Photoshop Elements, which I outgrew that really quickly, and then I graduated onto Photoshop and paid the big money for Photoshop, and spent the hours and hours of this huge learning curve to learn Photoshop and buying books. And because when I first started, you couldn't go on YouTube and have people tell you how to use Photoshop. It was, you had to buy books and figure it out for yourself. And and there was just so many steps you had to go through to get the things that you get on something like Luminar. It's just amazing how quick and how easy this program works and how much you can do with it. So, okay, so now it went through that preparing, and now you see this little round guy here. Well, that's your erase tool, and you can make it bigger or smaller. And I'm just going to erase this thing right here. And I don't like that little blueness right there, so I'm going to take that out. Let's see, is there anything else I want to get rid of? I think everything looks good. So I'm going to hit done over here, and then it's going to work on getting rid of those things. And it takes a little while, but this is really an amazing feature, and it works so well that it's okay that it takes a little while. Okay, first it looks like it didn't do anything. Watch. Okay, now they're gone. Okay, so and that just looks amazing. I mean, it just does such a good job of that you can't even tell that was ever there before. It takes a little time, as I said, waiting for it to finish. Okay, and then you hit done. Okay, so this image is done. This image is complete. If you needed to, if the image was, I'm going to bring on the crop tool. If it wasn't straight, if you wanted to straighten out the image a little bit, you just bring it here and you just move it to however you want it. Maybe a little straighter. I think I may actually did that image pretty straight. Well, a little bit, a little straightening. Kind of like that. Okay. And then also, if I wanted to bring the image in, if I wanted to crop it, I could crop it. You can go over here, and this is freeform, but you can also crop it to certain presets, certain sizes. You can create your own size. Okay, so that's done. That crop is done. Okay, so I straightened it out a little bit. So this image is done. And that's basically how you do a basic image in Luminar. So also one more thing, if you wanted to create your own set of presets, what you do is you hit this button right here, add filters, and say you want to put an AI filter in there, and say you wanted to put the develop filter in there, and say you wanted some clarity, and say you wanted a detail enhancer, and you wanted brilliance and warmth, and you just pick it through. And what I do is I try to put all the stuff that is going to adjust the light, and all the stuff's going to adjust color, and all the stuff's going to adjust sharpening, and put them together. You want to dodge and burn, say, or something like that. So you put that whole set together, and then what you would do is go back up to the top. You can close this out. You go back up to the top, and you went to there to open that. You go up to the top. You come to here, and then what you would do is say Save New Workspace, and then you would name it, and then you would have your own new workspace in there. I'm not going to make a new one, and because like I said, all these down here are my workspaces that I've created, and all these up here are workspaces that come with the program. So basically, yeah, that's how you do a basic edit in Luminar, and I hope this was helpful. And if you like this video, go ahead and give it a like, and go ahead and subscribe to my channel, and I'll be putting more videos like this on here. I also do tutorials for photography and review photography gear. So thanks for watching. Oh, one more thing. In order to save it, you hit Shift Command E, okay, and then you either click on this save button, or you can hit Enter, and it will save it. And it does take some time to save, and it is kind of annoying when it does that. But if you want to batch process your images, you can, but it's not ideal yet. Once they get the library module in, I think it's really going to work out really nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and close down Capture One. And this image right here that you see that I made for my desktop, I made this in Luminar using a feature that it's designed to put texture into your images, but you also can do something like this with it. So it's a pretty fun program. I'm really enjoying it. And let's see, okay, it's still processing. It can take a long time to process. It's one of the annoying things. The only things that I can say negatively about it is that it does take a long to process an image once it's processed. And and before I close this down, I want to show you the before and after, and show you what we have accomplished by bringing this image into Luminar and doing the things that we did. So here we have your before and your after. Your before and your after. Here, this also gives you, this is what it looks like as a raw file straight out of the camera, and this is what it looks like edited after I was done with it. So, quite a difference. So, thanks for watching.